So welcome along to Behind the Bar podcast. I'm Ross Thompson, owner of the Barbell Club, Durham Sunderland Concert and our global one-to-one online coaching program. So today I'm going to do a solo podcast because life gets busy and it's quite hard to work around guests and even our coaching team, like to get them on the podcast. And I always want to do these every single week, but it is just hard to do around all of our busy lifestyles. Like today is a Wednesday, Sarah's away, and I've been able to manage to get down, obviously not being able to arrange anybody to get on, but I always want to get these out. I always like to think of, there's a thing what I call the 1%, and that's the kind of thing what's been floating around my head. It's been going on forever, but these last few weeks, I've really knuckled down these 1%. And this podcast alone is just one of those 1%, what I like to get out there into the world to make sure that everybody knows what we're doing, help people on their own health and fitness journey, and hopefully to inspire others. So what the 1% means to me is every little single thing you can do in life, there's always 1% little better you can do. Now, where this come from for me is, what was the book called? Atomic Habits by James Clear. So I read it, 6 years ago, I think it was. I'd highly recommend this book to anyone. It has changed my life. And one of the 1% of that 1% book is that I read it at the end of each year, just to make sure that I'm always on point, getting those habits in play and up those 1%. So what it means to me is anything you say or do can be changed by 1%. Even if something is working really well, you can do something by 1%. So say just this morning, just before I've recorded this podcast, there was a few things in the Durham unit where when you're coaching, some of the coaches are crossing over paths with each other, just to get the dumbbells. So I've came in, I've moved the dumbbell racks around, I've moved the shoulder press around, just to be able to ensure that tiny little extra bit for the coaches to be able to coach a program more efficiently is in play. So when I read the Atomic Habits, I'm going to just use this example. I've used it many times in the past before with our members. So drinking water was always a tough one for me. I think years of getting away with it as a kid, that I could just drink fizzy pop. I mean, my mum and dad used to buy 6 litres of lemonade, 2 litres lemonade, 2 litres of Coke. I think they were diet at the time, but either way, so my palate was always wanting flavour, and then obviously I did go down to mixy juice. Yes, I call it mixy juice, not dilute. I went down to that, and then still for many, many years, was always having dilute. I didn't used to like water. And one of the 1% and the Atomic Habits, what I put into play, was a habit stacked up. So for every single coffee, so obviously I love my morning coffee, and I would go downstairs, just make a coffee and drink that. Now to get that water in, I habit stacked that with the coffee. So I wasn't allowed me coffee until I had a glass of water. And then any other coffee throughout the day, I had to have a glass of water before it. Then that slowly built up over time, just that 1% little improvement over time. And now to the point where I actually only drink water. Yes, I'll have a can of fizz now and then. Obviously still have my coffees all the time. But that was just that little 1%, what that means to me. And then the same for everything else in life. There's always just something where you can move stuff around. In the house, I just thought of one there. What I did was the recycling. So everybody tends to have just a bunch of recycling on the side of the counter, and then they'll take it outside. And what I found is there was friction between that. So it was well, how can I make this a little easier process? So my downstairs window opens outwards like that. So I've actually just moved the recycling bin under the window. So literally anytime you've got a recycling, open the window, straight in the bin. Now that's another 1% there. So yeah, that's pretty much sums up what the 1% means to me. Now, the way that I bang on about this, to my staff, I'm always 1%, 1%, 1%, what would be better? And obviously, a few people have taken the piss, 1%, 1%, but it really does help. And I can see that in time, they're all getting on board. Coach Matty, which is at 1%, Coach Matty's one of these people who just he is just every single month, every single year, he just gradually gets better and better and better. And just this week alone, he's like staying back just that little bit to make, when he leaves, the next lot of people who's coming in, like he's making them a coffee, and that's that 1% improvement for client experience. So he now knows the people who come in for that 9 o'clock session, and that's when he finishes as well, that he's making the coffee. Where I've been over Sunderland a lot lately, Coach Emily has been back. Obviously, they've heard about me 1%, and one of the things I didn't see over there was that when they're opening all the doors and the windows, the wind is coming through, and obviously it's shutting the doors. And the coach prior to that has just put like a weight plate down. Obviously, that means there's weight plates not in the gym anymore. And I came in and there was some wooden door stoppers there. And I was like, yep, that's a beauty 1%. And even when I pulled it up on her, she said it was a 1%. But I do want people to always think of like, what can I do better? What can I do this little bit more for myself? Especially when it comes to your health and nutrition. Like, what are those little 1% what you can do? And this can be as small as, especially if you're starting out in your journey and you're just starting to get to understand protein. That 1% could be like, okay, every breakfast I have, it's going to have a minimum of 30 grams of protein in. Even if you repeat that meal over and over again, that is going to set that off so that your next meal over time will have another 1% improvement. So say your lunch, that'll have 30 grams of protein in, your tea, and then all your snacks will start getting that protein in, and you'll be able to hit your daily protein targets. So being over Sunderland the last few weeks, I'm generally in the Durham unit, because I still do coach 1 hour in the morning in Durham, and then I'll train, and then I'll crack on with my work. And then Sarah will do a lot of calls on the night, so I'm generally looking after the little one. But one of the coaches was on a holiday, and another coach phoned in sick and is now on long-term sick. So I went over there and had to cover from start to finish. And where I had somebody who was supposed to be looking after the 1%, I've went over with a fresh set of eyes here, and I have just found so many little 1% what should have been done a while ago. And I'll only ever blame myself, because if somebody is supposed to be doing a job like below you in business, then it is up to that person above them, myself, to be able to teach them in, fully teach them in, and still like keep progressing them through and make sure that they alone see them 1%. I managed to go over there, see all the 1%, see how the programming was just slightly different in different units. So made some big investments in there. Walls, we tried to paint some of the walls over there. It didn't work out, but we've ended up like putting like soundboards on the walls over there, which has been brilliant. We've got a lot of members' photos in there. I think it's always a big thing to have that community feel when you walk into our places, of photos of the members themselves. Like, it obviously, when I am putting the photos up over there now, they're all coming in, having a look, see who's on there. I mean, a lot of people are a bit camera shy, so I try and creep about with the camera a little bit, but they will always catch us out. We put some investment in over there. We painted all upstairs. We've painted all downstairs as well. Just even little bits. So there was a part of like where people were bench pressing, and there was a light what was glaring in people's eyes. Now, this has been going on for years, but because I'm on this 1% mission, and it was like every little thing what I hear from a member, it's like, okay, well, what can we do to change that? And it was like, I did move the light, but that didn't work. And then it was like, you can actually get like a screen to put on the light itself. So we put that on, and now that glare's gone, which is brilliant. Now people are more comfortable in that bench position. We got the glute bridge machine over there, because the barbell itself, that was like a bit of a 1%. It's hard to get in and out of the floor for coaching especially. So now we've got like a machine where people obviously jump in, jump out, and they're getting more out of the exercise. Well, it's actually enjoyable to do. When it has come to like, say, the programming in all of our units, for a cover coach to go in, generally me, or a different cover coach to come in, the programs have always been like a little bit just out of sync, just that little bit. So what we've done in the background as well is create like a full systemized approach to how everything is completely uniformed, even to the point of like where each exercise is moved around in exactly the same position. Because when I say I have gone over to some of, there's been a few different variations, and then that's hard for a cover coach to come in, like if somebody has had an emergency time off like they did, and go in and be able to deliver the same experience as what they got with their own coach. So no matter which of our coaches has to come in and cover, we can just jump straight in and be able to cover to that exact same one, so that they are getting that exact same experience throughout, so that they're lifting the same way, so nothing's ever confusing in the heads of like, oh well, this coach does it this way and this coach does it that way. Our coaches now all do exactly the same program throughout the units at exactly the same time, so that each individual person, say if somebody did move from a different location to one in here, they'd be getting still that exact same personal training experience of what we deliver here at the Barbell Club. And it's a big operation to be able to create a full systemized approach to every single thing what we do. I am literally going around with a camera and recording every single part of my roles, apart from making this podcast. But hey, I think this is a separate thing in any way, but I probably will. I'll probably even be making a video on how to make the podcast, just in case they want to do their own and set it up themselves. I'm maybe off ill or whatever else, and then this can continue to roll as well. So I know this happens in a lot of big businesses, and over time, we've always had say a Facebook group for our staff, and we've always put in the programming, the hints, the tips, the nutrition coaching, and everything like that. But everything hasn't been in one place. So we're using an app called School, and we can just build out classrooms for the members, for the staff, and they literally just go in, follow it down, whatever they need. Durham programming day one, concert programming day one, even to the point of how to use the timer in Durham, or what to do if the fridge stock is empty. So the 1% apply, so for me, that 1%, it doesn't just apply in fitness or even in business. I'm a dad, I'm coming up 42, I've got 3 young boys, and even the 1% of me trying to be a better parent is in that 1%. Me oldest Jake, I text him quite a lot. Dexter, me middle one, I don't text as often, because they do live with the mum 5 days a week. And I have to get into my head, it's okay, right, just text him more. Do you know what I mean? Just that 1%, give him a text here and there, making sure that I've always got that little bit of time for them. I mean, on a night, we always do, whenever we're all together, we do sit and play PlayStation. That sounds mad. But all of us, that's including Sarah as well, it's called the Thompson Tournament, every night when we're together. So that's a thing what'll never get taken out from us. That's something what we've implemented just to make sure that we're always spending time with them. And now it is the 6 weeks holidays at the minute. So it is, right, well, what days can I spend with them? I will make that time. And even though I am swamped, I am busy, no matter what, I'm always going to make sure that that little 1% is there for them. I mean, many years ago, I was more raggy with them, I'd always shout a lot more at them. But as time gone on, I've literally just calmed down, because it's fine. The kids, they're never going to listen to you in anywhere. So as long as you're saying those things over and over again, I mean, I suppose it's that 1% repeat. telling them, fingers crossed they'll get it. But well, if you were a parent yourself, you're repeating yourself the first. I mean, Jake's 17 years now. And yeah, you still repeat yourself for those 17 years. So even those 1% don't compound into what you actually want, but then it is the case of just moving on, shall we say. 1%, even married to Sarah, we do work together a lot. We do talk about work quite often. So it is trying to take that little time out for us as well, even away from the kids. So we do try and get out for a walk like each day. So generally when we're not in the six weeks holidays, we'll finish up like before we go to pick the little one up, Castor. So we pick them up at, what time is it? 3:15. So that like little 1% of being able to just be together, unwind from work and get out in the fresh air and obviously get our steps in at the same time. We would just set out that little bit earlier. So we'd set out maybe 2:30, get a 45-minute walk in and get round. And that's that like little 1% of like having some adult time and it's away from work. I mean, I don't even take my phone out on the walk as well, like just to really shut off and just to really have a good bit chat. I mean, yeah, obviously sometimes work does flood into that because we are in the same business, but doing that together is like a super bonus. And we always do try and get out for like a date day outside of the 6 weeks holidays, but where we have had like staff off this year and a few other things going on that haven't happened as well as they should, but I will get better. 1% in photography. So, I mean, I'm on the podcast now, but last year, this was like a bit of a compounding effect of where I decided to take on the photography of our photo shoots and our in-house social media stuff. I've always used like video cameras all the time, and I've recorded many videos in the past, but I never knew how to use a proper camera. And one of the main things with that was, well, I'm not going to be great in, I mean, I've been doing it over a year now and I'm doing pretty well actually, but I knew I would never like be fantastic or anything like that, and I wasn't going to like be an unreal photographer straight away. I knew it would take time. So all I said to myself was like, right, it is reps. No matter how shit it is at the start and no matter how shit it is in a few months' time, with every single rep, it will get better. So all I did with the photography was, I mean, I tried to go to college and it didn't work out. It was a terrible course. I did do an online course where I learned a lot, but then our old camera guy, Luke, I sat with him for 3 hours actually. So basically I paid a coach, Luke himself, and he coached us through 3 hours, and I learned more in that 3 hours than I have done with anything else. And the reps, the 1%, I told myself, as long as I'm picking up that camera, as long as I'm using it like at least a minimum of once per week, that I will get better. And I think, to be honest, to this date, I've easily went and done like, say, 2 types of shoots every single week since I started. That might just be in the gym, taking photos of members training, of myself, of practice on Sarah. And then that snowballed into the fact of doing our first proper shoots. Like I was doing the behind the scenes shoots when Luke was still with us doing the photo shoots. I was doing the behind the scenes, and then I did the proper shoots. And slowly but surely, with all those proper shoots that I've done, solo shoots, group shoots, they've just getting better each and every time, and to the point of where I was the full photographer at our villa shoot, where we did multiple shoots there with lighting, what I've never used before, obviously capturing the daylight. But all it took was just rep after rep after rep after rep after rep, and to the point where someone actually reached out and I did my first paid photo shoot. Now, I'm not a photographer or anything like that, so please don't message us asking to do your photography, but it was a nice bonus to all these 1%, what I put in play to be able to get to that point, to be able to actually get paid for the photo shoot. So it's a good little tick in the box, and I'm buzzing with it. I wouldn't take it up as a full-time thing. It's a lot of pressure for people to want professional photo shoots, but it's something I really enjoy, and I see that more of a hobby. But even now with this, like, I am still going to be getting 1% in every single week, twice a week probably. Every time I go out on a family holiday, I'll be taking it then, practice, because when we do our in-house photo shoots, I've just finished one up with our coach Lucy, and it's probably one of my favourites to date. It's obviously every time I do one of these, like a proper shoot, they seem to be my favourite to date because they just keep getting better and better. And for me, the main focus is for when we do our members shoots, that those are absolutely bang on, like as though we've paid thousands and thousands to get somebody in to do it. That's at the level we want to get. And amongst that, with that 1%, it's like I want those photo shoots to be unreal. So this is one of the reasons why I've built out like backdrops within the gym, wooden backdrop on the wall. We've made the walls look nicer, and these are just so that when we do have those photo shoots with our members, that they look absolutely slick. So probably, I mean, one of the reasons that these 1% work, and what like people don't see, I suppose, is the long days. I mean, people always assume that coaches, especially us, where we're only open Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, mornings and nights, they don't see all those 1% going on in the background. Like today, where I've just moved like a load of racks around and all the rest of it, just to make one little thing better. They'll never see all these things, because like I do, even though we are only open those days, I do pretty much work 7 days a week in, if it's not just like program development, coaching development, it is on the marketing and advertising, because obviously the more people we do get in, the more we can keep improving the product. And that's essentially what we want, just keep improving that product 1% at a time. But even like say the advertising and marketing, like that is the majority of my time, trying to create ads, content, making sure that everything's running right through like ads managers and whatever other advertising stuff we have got going on, which is a very, very big task indeed. Like I'll sometimes sit, I mean, just yesterday night, yesterday I think I spent like 8 hours straight making so many different variations of ads and ad copies, just to be able to like get a few people extra in to our units, so that obviously Sarah can make the sales, and that people can join us, obviously get the results they want, and then to keep improving that product time and time and time again. So there's a lot of things what people never see behind the scenes, even to the point of like when we do get new equipment in, like, I mean, I always say to the staff that I am the tip run master, because I go to the tip that often with all these cardboard boxes, the wooden boxes, just all of the shit what nobody ever sees. And I mean, they know us by first name at the tip, so that's how often I go there. And I always run out my tip passes, so I get 12 a year because I've got a truck. And it's these 1% behind the scenes what people never ever see, and people never understand, and people just think you're this coach who like just like, yep, one more set, that's it, you shout at people, da 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 da. There's so much goes behind the scenes to be able to deliver what our coaches do on the shop floor. When it comes to the 1%, is there any downsides to thinking it? Yeah, probably. I overthink things and I make life a lot more difficult for myself, I suppose, because every time I see something what needs improving, that means that's another job what I've got to sort out. I'm not that great at delegating, so I'm like, boom, okay, right, I'll do that. And then even when my staff are on board, right, oh, what about this, what about this, what about this, what about this? I mean, even to the point just yesterday, it was, I ordered some cables for one of the machines. Obviously, I always order 2 just in case. And then I seen like one of the pads on the bench is being split, and nobody's told us about this. It's been taped up, and I'm like, why hasn't anybody like pulled us up on this? Because that's like another 1%. But I had just ordered from the cables, so now I've got to like reorder back from the manufacturer again. But it's not a bad thing, obviously, because that does need replacing. But every single little thing, it's like when I've come to record the programs, it's like, well, is this going to be right in 6 months down the line? Because we write up 6 months worth of programming at a time. And it's like, okay, well, before I do that, I'm going to have to rearrange the gym floor so that it matches the other gym to do that. So it's like matching gym floors to gym floors just to make sure that there's one video I can record to put into the staff group. And even like little bits in the house, I see all these little 1%. They tend to get pushed on the back foot more than the business stuff, unfortunately. But that's the way life goes. So there is downsides to overthinking what can be done, what can be done, what can be done, what can be done. But when it does come to, say, health, nutrition, and all the rest of it, you've got to think of small and just let it compound over time. So like I mentioned before, you got your protein, but then your steps. Say your steps, 10k is a magic number. I love people who can get 10k in every day. Obviously, if you want to be leaner faster and be healthier, then yeah, go past it. I think my average is about 14,000 steps this year, which has kept me lean consistently. But for you on the steps, say you're only hitting that 5,000 steps barrier, like that 1% is just 6,000. And that's what you need to focus on when it comes to that 1%, is just hitting that 6,000. Not 7, not 8, not 9, not 10. 6,000 a month. That's it. And then it's a piece of piss. And then the next month, 7,000. And then the next month, 8,000. And soon you'll be hitting 10,000 without even realizing. And that's how you've got to compound it without stuff taking over your life. Now, I can say that it's easier to say than do, but those are the kind of things you want to do. Now, one of obviously the biggest 1% I always tell people when they are starting out on this fitness journey is get into your sessions, get into the gym, because then everything else compounds after that. So if you're getting into the gym, you know your movement's going to be that little bit better. You know you're going to eat that little bit better, because why are you, like, if you're doing that, you're always thinking in your head, oh, well, I'm wasting my time if I have like an extra pie or an ice cream after dinner. It's like you start saying no to stuff. And that's like the beauty of actually just doing that main objective. I always call that our main habit within Barbell Club, is getting into your session, because everything else falls in place around that. So there can be downsides, and then I suppose it's hard, like when you're trying to celebrate the wins, because you're so focused on all of these little bits that you don't really look back and think, shit, I am hitting 10,000 steps. I have trained 3 months constantly every single day in the gym, on your training days. I have said no to alcohol all these times, but that's how you've got to reflect back and think, this is how I got to X, all because I just started making these small habits along the way. So probably just on that whole 1% thing, and me waffling on, obviously doing a solo podcast is a bit strange. I'm used to asking the questions and then just going, oh, interesting. So is the lesson, I wrote this one down. So like for you, like where could you improve by just 1% this week? Could that be in training, nutrition, sleep, relationships, business, and confidence? It's like you've got to stop chasing like this perfection and just start chasing like those little bits of progress. So I hope you enjoyed that one. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, or all the rest of it. If you are interested in any of our programs, there will be a link below. I am going to record a few more solo stuff just as like filler gaps between the guests, but I will get some guests back on. And yeah, hope you enjoyed that one, and thank you very much for watching.